I installed a Model 2250 Fantastic vent. In this video I'll talk about the function of the fan and how it is installed. This model comes with an automatic cutoff once the cover is closed. A reverse switch is built into the panel. This model also has a thermostat which turns on when the cabin reaches a certain temperature. At the lowest rung, it will always be on, regardless of temperature. A 5 amp slow blow fuse is protecting this fan from surges. I currently have this thing hooked up to a DC power supply, and here are the real world power usage measurements off of it. I'm currently running this at 12 volts, which is a bit less than a typical battery, so this is slightly lower watt usage than you'll see in a typical RV setup. The way these vents work is that you typically want them sucking air out through the top and then in through a window. I can't quantify how much air this moves, but it is definitely enough for a trailer of this size. I picked this fan up from an RV supply store in town, and now I'm going to unbox it for you. Alright, so the first thing I need to do is create a frame out of that same 1-inch tube steel to support the fan in the ceiling. Then tack and weld the frame. Fair bit of overhead MIG weld work later, I got it into the ceiling. To cut through the roof, I used that handheld Sawzall blade holder, and it works real good. Around all the bolt holes, I put a layer of butyl tape. I then seated the vent into the frame. It started raining before I could finish this project up, as it does in Oregon, and I had to cover it with plastic before I could get to finishing the rest of it. Here's what the butyl tape looks like before it's been compressed by the mounting hardware. One concern that I had was that the flange on the vent is flat and this roof is curved. However, the roof and the sealant tends to take all that away, and it does fit quite nicely on these curved cargo trailer roofs. Now you fix the flange down with whatever hardware of your choice. In my case, I bolted it through the frame, however, screws would also work. The main sealant to put around the flange of the roof vent is this Dicor lap sealant. It's self-leveling and goes on like cake batter. Make sure to get the stuff with the guy who stares into your soul on the packaging. You're going to want to use this stuff liberally along the flange. You can't use too much of it, and it self-levels, so any little knobs and bumps will flatten out over time. I think it's a little bit of overkill to use butyl tape and this at the same time, but it doesn't hurt, and butyl tape is also a good sealant, so go for both. So I like screwing around with electronics, and at this point I'm going to take this fan apart and figure out what makes it run. Here's the fuse and speed selector assemblage, and this is the thermostat. Don't be worried about servicing the electrical components in this fan. It was really easy to take this cover off, and you could replace anything you needed to. I put in these 2 rails on the ceiling and sewed a curtain that goes over the vent just to keep light out and a little bit of heat in.